Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Blackie and today we're going to be doing some announcements and some etc. So just bear with me a minute. First up, what you're seeing right here, I would like to say thank you to my longtime mentor, Francis McGowan Grouch, because he has passed along to me a few volumes of books, as he said. So I've got quite I think a couple of hundred books to go through now. Trail camping, tale of fly fishing, complete book of camping, antique books, all kinds of outdoor hunting, fishing, surveying books, dendrology books, all kinds of stuff. You know, he wanted to add to my library. So thank you very much, Trout. Now, the next thing is, if I haven't already do it, let me go ahead and do this officially. My gathering, that's Blackie's Gathering, will happen this year in 2024. Sorry, I'm out at the shooting range doing a competition and they're doing some stuff over the other hill. So sorry about that. Okay, if I haven't done it officially, my gathering, Blackie's Gathering, will be happening this year, April the 8th through the 14th. The location will be Geneva State Forest, same place it's been before. The cost will be like before, $2 a day, and that is put into an honor box up on top of the hill for the forest. That's not me charging, that's the forest, just $2 a day. Yes, you can fish if you get an Alabama temporary permit or already have an Alabama fishing permit. Yes, you can bring a canoe or kayak or something like that. There are plenty of places to camp for hanging camps, and there's plenty of places to put up tents. So that's covered. I will provide firewood at the campsite. I'll have them bring in a cord. There is no water at the site except for the lake. So if you've got time to filter water, or bring your own water. Okay? So again, that's April the 8th through the 14th. Now, Silver Wolves, the Silver Wolf classes. Let me announce that now. I know y'all been hanging on with bated breath, and you will forgive me if I have to put my eyes on to see details up close. The classes will be April the 4th through the 7th. So that is the week. What's happening is the 4th is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday is just early show up if you want to show up early. Friday is the official show up date and get set up. There will be no official classes on that day. We're Silver Wolves, we're traveling to get here. So we want to get there, get our camp set up, get settled in, give us time. We will have the campfire that night where we get to talk with the instructors and everything. We can talk about any topic y'all want to talk about. Okay? That's going to be on Friday night. Saturday morning begins the first classes. And Saturday morning, there are going to be a total of, in the weekend, 16 classes. 4 of these classes are going to be hands-on classes where we're creating or doing something, not just sitting there doing classroom instruction. So on Saturday, we will have kit versatility, where we're going to talk in depth about haversacks, kits, stuff like that. Fishing, survival, and sustenance. That's going to be a class by me, and I'm going to talk about fishing, how to do fish traps, how to do weirs, how to do fishing with hook and line to get more strikes whenever you're trying to feed the family or just trying to have some enjoyment, go out and camp out and kind of live off the land a little bit. There will be a water procurement class. This is how to locate sources of water, how to, create water, etc. Next will be a common sense E.D.C class. We're going to talk about what we should be carrying on us. This was a big hit at the last one, and this will be something we're going to talk about a little more in depth this time. We will then break for lunch. So these will be 4 one-hour classes, 8, 9, 10, late in the day and the hair is gray. Silver Wolf, hey, give me a break. Go ahead. So it will be 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, so 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 we break for an hour for lunch. We come back at 1 o'clock, then there's going to be a hammock class by me. This will be more expanded than the one we had last time. We will have mess kits and camp kitchens will be the next class put on. Then there will be one called Building Your Bug Out Bag. This is how we can prep to have things on our vehicle or whatever, or at home for when we got to move or etc. And then we're going to have Introduction to Net Making, where we're going to go over, Mike Simmons is going to go in depth about how to set up a net, how to create a net. Nets are extremely important skill to have, because with a net you can catch just about anything. See, and you can make things like bags. You can make a wall out of a net if it's big enough and strong enough. You know what I mean? So it's a basic idea of how to create. And once you understand the basis of it, you can adapt it to whatever. Then that'll end at 6 p.m. and we will, that'll end at 5, and that's whenever we break for an hour for supper. And then we come back together for the campfire. Now the campfire discussion in the last Civil Wolf class was a big hit, because we sit and we talk about the topics, and we also talk about special needs and stuff of being Silver Wolves. We interact back and forth. Everybody throws in their 2 cents. It's not an instructional class, it's an open discussion where we talk about aches and pains, how to deal with this, tips and tricks that we found to do to be able to stay in the woods. That was a big hit. Okay, Sunday morning, my first class will be cot camping, and we'll talk about how to use a cot, tips and tricks staying warm in cots, much more than the little video I did back before. It'll be an hour-long class where I'll talk about high cots, low cots, different ways of layering in a cot, etc. How to hook up a tarp with a cot, how to put it in a freestanding tent, etc. And how to car camp and stuff with a cot. We'll be talking about that. The second class is going to be ditch medicine, and this is how to procure medicines in the field to take care of our problems, you know, medicinals and things like that. Third class on Sunday is going to be water purification, various methods to purify water, more than just the obvious boiling. There's many, many ways, and Mike Simmons is going to do a 1-hour class on multiple different ways to purify water in the field. Fourth class is going to be camp comforts and simple bushcraft. It's how we can formulate stuff off the land to help us in the camp, how we can do, you know, creation of camp. That'll be done by Mr. Dakota. We will then break for lunch. After lunch we come back, and it will be a class on food and nutrition in the field. This is how we talk about what we need out here, not just procurement of food, but what kind of food you should be looking for and why. Next class is going to be sleep systems, where we're going to talk about various ways of sleep, of covers, blankets, etc. Cowboy bedrolls, stuff like that. Seventh is going to be a bushcraft and basic carving class. It's where we're going to talk about making spoons, forks, utensils, stuff like that. Again, it's where we can make dingle sticks. We can fabricate from the field. So I ain't got to tote it, but I can sit there and make it in the field. And then the last class on Sunday is going to be paracord projects, and we're going to talk about we're going to be creating something useful out of 550 paracord. Now I'll be providing the paracord. I'm teaching that class, and so we're going to talk about it, show you step by step, and how it can be used to create other useful objects. Okay. The class will officially end Sunday night at the end of the last class. Now we will still be camping, and we will still have a campfire Sunday night, but the paying part of the class, so to speak, officially ends then, Sunday night. Now, several of you overseas had said to do a class, to do a Silver Wolves, and please make it long enough that it'd be worthwhile for them to come for the trip. So that's the reason we've done it this way. I will be arriving on site sometime around lunch or so on that Thursday, the 4th. Simply to be on site for people showing up. Okay? There'll be no classes or nothing then. It's just us getting everything set up, right? Friday will be officially the students arrive. We get you settled in, get everything going. Saturday, Sunday is the classes. Sunday night, you want to leave, you can go ahead. Or you can stay in camp if you want to, either way. The next morning, Monday morning, officially begins my gathering. So I'm going to be there to the 14th. So I'm going to be on site from the 4th to the 14th. I'm going to be out there 10 days. So those of you that want to come from overseas and come and camp and have more than just an overnighter, come on. You know, the official classes are going to be that first weekend. Those are the paying classes where I've got my instructors there for this. And then after that, the rest of the week, it's just going to be open camp. So if you have questions, I'll be happy to work with you then. But there'll be no official classes scheduled for the week. It's just our gathering like we normally do. Hanging out, talking, come up. If there's a question, come on. Like I've said before, if you've got a dirt time question you need to know, we'll hit the dirt right now and I'll show you. If I know how to do it, I'll be glad to do it. Or if somebody else here in the camp is better at something, we'll get them. And it's a sharing of information is the way my gathering is. It's an open gathering. Okay, so that's why we're putting it together this way. Okay, cost. Class is going to be limited to 20 students. We want a lot of interaction back and forth, so we don't want to get too big, right? The cost of the class is going to be $300. That allows me to pay my instructors to drive from all over the place, from multiple states, to get here. And so that's just the way I can pay my instructors. It's going to be $300, and that will cover all the classes, okay? Now, for those of you not wanting to be there at the class, but you want to come to my gathering, feel free to come, like I said, starting on Monday. Do not show up that first weekend because I'm going to be focused, and my instructors will be focused on the students. And so we will not have time to sit and talk and etc. That's in the gathering. And if you show up ahead of time, you're not going to get to sit in on the classes. I'm sorry. So don't, I'm not trying to be mean, but at the same time, well, I just came in a little bit early. No, these people have paid, and so therefore they're getting the classes. And that's just being fair with everybody, But after Sunday night, it's wide open. Come on in. So people like Jonathan Frisbee, I'm looking at you. Because if I say I'm having an event on this Saturday, he'll show up 2 weeks early. Chris Hall, my brother Chris Hall, I was having a gathering, I think 2 or 3 years ago now, and the gathering was going to be starting on Wednesday, and the weekend before, over a week before an event, he showed up, where a friend of mine went out there and said, there's a guy already out here waiting for your gathering. I said, he's a week early. That's how I met Chris Hall. So people like to show up. We normally have somewhere between 60 to 100 people show up for one of my gatherings. So there's a lot. There's plenty of room and etc. So, but those are the classes. Now, down in the description box, I will put a list of all the classes, and I will put the contact information if you want to pay. You can pay me through PayPal, and I'll list you down. When the full 20 slots are filled, I will announce class is full, and that'll be it. So there's only going to be 20 slots available. If we don't fill up, that's fine. We're still going to do it, but 20 is the limit, which I'm about positive we're going to fill up, because last time we said we were going to limit it down to 20, and we ended up with like 18 students. And there was a couple had to drop out at the last second. But after we had closed, I had like 15 or 16 contact me and said, dang, I want to be there. So it's going to go quick. So, like I said, down in the description box, I'll put the list of classes, and I'll put the contact information. Okay? Now, speaking of silver wolves, my adoptive niece, Heather, she was at Georgia Bushcraft this last fall with me, Trinity, and my other niece, Carrie. And she does all sorts of little epoxy things, like Bigfoots and etc. And she started doing this silver wolf merch of various kinds, like that's a track with a wolf in it, and then there's a big medallion with wolves in it, and it's made out of this hard acrylic plastic, epoxy of some kind. And so she's got quite a few different things made up in Silverwolf, and some people have been buying from her. So those of you that asked me about some Silverwolf merch, here's where she is, and I will put her contact information down there in the description box so you can go look and see if you want some Silverwolf merch. Yes, she started doing t-shirts as well with these big emblems and stuff on it. So if you're looking for something like that, way to go. I'm just trying to help her out. You know, I'm not making anything on this. I'm just promoting somebody else with this. But being my adoptive niece and she's doing it, I want to, you know, Uncle Blackie wants to say, hey, and promote. So, I have got a pile of books to go through, and my collection is about to get a lot bigger. Now, as I find really interesting ones in there, I'll bring them to you guys and do a book review. Hey, you might want to get this for your collection. Like that one I just had. I have done this one before, the trail cooking book. Very good book for how to run camp kitchens, cook in the field, etc. How to set up, you know, not just recipes, but how to run the stoves, how to do all kinds of stuff. Now, it's kind of dated in the fact of when this was done. This was done back in the 70s. But still, I mean, it covers canteens, wild plants, recipes, water containers, how to, you know, how to use sterno even. All kinds of stuff. I've had this book, a copy of this book in my own collection for quite a while, and so when he gave me a second copy, anything I'm not going to use will be rotated over to my giveaway at the Pathfinder, at the gathering. And that complete book of camping, these are hard to come by. I read this book when I was a kid, and it very informative, you know, how to set up a wall tent, how to do the ropes and stuff. It's just a great camping book. I really love reading the old books, especially from people who had first-person knowledge. Everybody talks about Nesmunk, but like Beard and all these others that were there. And they were in the first wave, I'd call it, where camping was something other than survival, you know. It was a novelty because prior to this, everybody did this. When you went from A to B by wagon or by horse, you camped out on the side of the road or in somebody's field or just in the woods every night, you know. It was a rough and tumble thing, so everybody did it. But then right in the early 1900s, when that had changed, where suddenly there were places to stay, like hotels and little inns and stuff like that, where people didn't automatically have to camp. Nesmuk was seeing an end of an age of those skills of camping that anybody that traveled had to know, you know, were going away. And so he was trying to save it. And I love reading these books because of those little nuggets that you find in them. And so, like I said, as I find stuff, I'll bring it to your attention. But people want to know, where did Blackie get reading a lot of this stuff and doing it for real? And then being out here and being in the middle of something and going, well, now, wait a minute. Didn't this happen to somebody else that I read about, and he did this? Let's try that. And that's how I got so much of this knowledge. A lot of it was from early childhood, reading and learning and figuring it out, because these books aren't works of fiction. These books are someone like me, a ghost now. I would bet almost every author up there is long past now. But it's their words. They're trying to, from the grave, so to speak, hand this knowledge off to you. You know, here's what I learned in my life here. And it was in book form. And so I want to hear their voices. I really enjoy it. I love on a cold winter night when the wind's howling outside and you got that full moon sitting back there with the you know, the moon and the pine sitting there reading a good book. It's just fantastic. Guys, thank you so much for your supporting of my channel. Really, really appreciate it. And those Silverwolves that want to come to the classes, down there in the description box will be the list of the classes and how you're going to pay to get your position locked in. Once all 20 slots are filled, I will announce it on the video. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.